So, hello. Okay, in this lab, we will be doing a lab on virtual net pairing. So basically, you can create a connection between two virtual networks. So it doesn't matter if your virtual machines are based in different regions or in the same regions, you can create a pairing using your virtual network, and then you will be able to access to um, whatever virtual machine you want to link with using the private IP address. So to do that, we will need to create two virtual machines basically. So first we go to the add virtual machine. I'll choose my resource group. I will call it maybe staging VM, the actual VM. I'll choose maybe West Europe, West US. I'll choose the image, doesn't really matter, 2019 or 2016. I'll choose 2019. And then I'll give the username, test user, password. Okay. Okay, oh good. And then just want to make sure that I allow port AT. And I'll go to the next disk. I'll go to the networking. And this is the one which will create our virtual network automatically, which is fine. Subnet is 24, all good. One thing you have to make sure that your CID should not have overlapping with the second machine, so you need to make sure that they are not the same. So you have to change them basically. So okay, let's go to the next one and then just hit review and create a virtual machine. And hit on create. So while it's doing that, I want to go and create another virtual machine, the test VM. So basically I want to go from test VM to my staging VM to see if the internet information services are working basically, but I'll explain in a minute. Let's go to virtual machine, choose resource group. I can say test VM. I'll select West US. Okay, and then I'll select my image, and then same test user, and then password. Okay, doesn't really matter, but you can give port AT, West US, everything good. Now go to the disk, same networking. I do not want to use the same network, so I will create a new network. But before I do that, I'll show you something. So if I go to my first machine, tutor present. So if I go to my first virtual machine, staging VM, and if I go to demo VNet, the address space is 10.0.0.0.24 basically, but I want to make sure that it should not overlap with the second machine I'm creating in order to create a pairing. So basically I'll go here, where is the second machine which we were creating. I'll say I'll create a new one, and I'll say test VNet, and I think this is different from the other one, so this should be fine, because this is the address range, because the one we saw for the demo one is 10.0.0.24, this one is 10.0.1.0, sorry, where is it? 10.1.0.16, that's different to the other one. So test VNet, default subnet is fine. So you just need to make sure that the IP addresses should not overlap in order to create the pairing, otherwise it will be a problem with a conflict. So now create, I'll just hit review and create on this machine. So while it's creating this machine, I want to go inside my first machine, staging VM, and install Internet Information Services. So I'll go log inside this virtual machine and download RDP. It always does that. I'm gonna try the other method, remote desktop. So, sorry, overview, take the IP address, paste it. Okay, now let's install the Internet Information Services. Okay, now see the Internet Information Services has been installed. So this is our staging VM. Let's see if our other virtual machine is ready as well or not. We are not going to install test VM in that, but what we're going to do is we're going to log inside our test VM and see if we can access to our staging VM basically. So let's see how can we do that. So let's log inside this one. Download. Okay, so now we are in our test VM. From this machine, we want to get the access to the staging VM. Before we do the installation, I just want to make sure that there is no connection between that machine basically. But before you do that, you need to go to the IT Enhance and turn off the security option. So if you go to the turn it off, okay. Okay, so if you go to your staging VM first and take the private IP of staging VM. So this is so if you go to networking, here is the private IP, and if I copy that and come back to my test VM, so this one is my test VM. I just want to make sure I'm in my test VM. So I'm in my test VM, and if I come here, sorry, I'll take this one and go to my internet browser, and if I type HTTP and I paste my private IP, will it find it or not? I don't think so. It will find it because we don't have any connection to our staging VM yet. So it says can't reach this page. So now in order to make a connection, we will go to the Azure, and it doesn't matter whichever machine you choose. So you go inside your virtual network. So this is our virtual network. And then here you will see an option, pairing. So you go to pairing, and there you create a connection. Hit on add, and then I can say you have to connect you have to make connections with the both machines. So staging VM can access to the test, and test VM can access to the VM. So I can say staging to test VM. I'm allowing traffic from virtual networks, traffic forward to remote virtual networks, allow. Okay, and then I'll give the remote virtual network name. So in here I can then say test VM to staging VM. Once I do that, I will then select the virtual network I want to. It's actually sorry, it's the test VNet we want. The test VNet we want to create a connection with. Okay, so now I hit on add. Now this will create two connections from staging to test and test to VM. So if once this complete, I'll show you. If I go to my test VM, right now I'm in my demo VNet, but if I go to my virtual machine and if I go to my test VM, and if I go to the test VNet, and if I go to the pairing here, we should have the connection. See, test VM to staging VM. So it's now automatically connected with that. So now we have a pairing between two machines, staging to test VM. So now if we go inside our virtual machine here, and now we try the same private IP again from the staging VM. So I'm inside my test VM. So I want to access to my staging VM. So if I go to the same thing again, if I do the same thing again, so HTTP, and I enter the private IP, and let's see if I can get into information services. If I go, oops, I made a small mistake. So here, boom, I've got my Internet Information Services here. Even though I don't have anything installed in this computer, so to prove you, if I go to my server manager, you won't be able to see a dashboard. There is no Internet Information Services. I'm accessing a staging VM, basically using the private IP now. This was quite interesting exercise for me, hopefully for you as well. So thank you for watching this video.